You traveled today. Maybe it was just a few miles, or maybe it was across a continent. But notice the ease, the absolute lack of effort, from your bedroom to your kitchen, to your car, to your office. This movement is so routine, we've forgotten how miraculous it actually is. To anyone living before the 19th century, your daily commute wouldn't just be fast, it would look like supernatural magic, a total defiance of nature. You paid almost no physical cost to cover that distance. Your heart rate didn't climb, your muscles didn't burn. This is a historical anomaly. For thousands of years, travel was the most physically demanding, logistically complex, and genuinely dangerous activity in human life. Consider this. A modern aircraft covers in 1 hour a distance that would take a fit, experienced ancient traveler 4 weeks on foot. A car at highway speed covers in 60 minutes what a Roman legionary, marching at an elite, disciplined pace, would cover in an entire day. In just 2 centuries, we have achieved a compression of distance so total that it has completely reorganized how the human body interacts with the Earth. The result? The modern human body is softer, less conditioned, and less capable of sustained exertion than any generation that came before. We have effectively forgotten the reality of the ancient traveler. We see them as limited, but the truth is far more impressive. Ancient travelers were extraordinarily innovative. Their solutions to the problem of distance shaped every empire and trade network in history. To understand the history of travel, we must start where everything began. We must start with the feet. The human foot is not a compromised version of a primate's grasping foot. It is a high-precision biomechanical instrument. The human arch stores and releases elastic energy with every single step. It functions as a biological spring, returning nearly a fifth of the energy you put in. Your Achilles tendon is the largest and strongest in your body for a reason. It's designed to minimize the metabolic cost of every mile you cover. This mechanism is so efficient that it took modern engineers until the late 20th century to even understand it well enough to use in prosthetics. The result is a locomotion system that no other animal on Earth can match. Sustained, efficient, long-distance movement over any terrain. This unique biology gave us a terrifying superpower: persistence hunting, the ability to run an animal until it simply dies of heat stroke. Humans have a massive advantage in the heat. We sweat. Most mammals overheat long before a persistent human pursuer is even tired. A kudu or a wildebeest is faster in a sprint, but they cannot sustain movement in high temperatures. They literally burn out from the inside. In the 1980s, researcher Louis Liebenberg documented the sand people of the Kalahari. He found they could track prey for 5 hours without stopping. These hunters would run down prey over distances of up to 35 kilometers in a single pursuit. Not sprinting, just relentless, continuous movement. The human body was not built for the desk or the car seat. It was built for the relentless, unaided journey. We were born to move. For most of history, the baseline expectation for travel was 40 kilometers a day, every day, regardless of the path. That was the norm. But everything changed when we stopped walking alone. The domestication of animals was a total revolution in the math of travel. 5,500 years ago, on the vast grasslands of Eurasia, humans did something that reorganized the political structure of entire continents. They tamed the horse. The horse offered superior speed and power. It could cover double the daily range of the fittest human walker, transforming warfare and trade. The Persians built the royal road. Herodotus wrote, "Neither snow nor rain nor heat stays these couriers from the swift completion of their rounds." A journey that took 90 days on foot took just 7 days for a royal courier. This speed of information unified the first truly global empire. The Mongol Empire perfected this with the Yam relay system. By placing stations every 35 kilometers, they created the world's first high-speed network. Messages could travel over 1,000 kilometers in a single day. This wasn't primitive. It was pre-industrial logistics at its peak. This communication network was the direct enabler of the largest contiguous land empire in human history. Speed was power. But while horses ruled the plains, another creature ruled the barriers: the dromedary camel, the ship of the desert. A single camel can carry 250 kilograms across the most hostile terrain on Earth. They turned absolute barriers into corridors of culture. Incredibly, the Middle East abandoned the wheel for the camel. Camels were more efficient, didn't need roads, and could cross terrain no cart could handle. Without the camel, the Silk Road would have been fragmented. The trans-Saharan gold and salt trade would have been impossible. The world would have been smaller. Without the camel, the Silk Road would have been fragmented. The trans-Saharan gold and salt trade would have been impossible. The world would have been smaller. In 1324, the Malian king Mansa Musa crossed the Sahara with 60,000 men and thousands of camels. This was a logistical feat of epic proportions. But land travel was only half the story. The human relationship with water is older, deeper, and even more extraordinary. The Pes canoe is the oldest boat ever found, dating back 10,000 years. But we know humans were crossing oceans much earlier than that. How did we colonize Australia 50,000 years ago? Sea levels were lower, but there was still 90 kilometers of open ocean to cross. No land bridge existed. They didn't arrive by accident. They crossed in numbers large enough to establish a population, using watercraft and navigation we still don't fully understand. The most extraordinary feat of all? The Polynesian expansion. They conquered a third of the Earth's surface with no compasses and no maps. Polynesian wayfinders didn't guess. They read an information environment of incredible richness. They navigated by the stars with absolute precision. They could feel the ocean swells. They knew the difference between a wave coming from the open sea and one reflected back by a distant, invisible island. They followed the flight patterns of birds. They knew which species only flew a certain distance from land, using them as living beacons to find the shore. Across the world, the Vikings developed their own mastery. Their clinker-built ships were fast, flexible, and could sail in just 1 meter of water. They used the sunstone, a crystal that could locate the sun through heavy clouds or fog, allowing them to navigate the brutal North Atlantic. Across the world, the Vikings developed their own mastery. Their clinker-built ships were fast, flexible, and could sail in just 1 meter of water. They used the sunstone, a crystal that could locate the sun through heavy clouds or fog, allowing them to navigate the brutal North Atlantic. While some read the waves, others carved their will into the earth. The great road networks were the skeletons of the ancient world. The Romans built 400,000 kilometers of paved roads, a network that stretched from the rainy hills of Scotland to the scorching deserts of Mesopotamia. These were not simple paths. They were engineering marvels, foundations of large stones, layers of rammed gravel, and a surface of tightly fitted polygonal paving. They were crowned to drain rainwater and elevated on embankments called aggers. They were built to last forever, and they nearly did. 2,000 years later, many of these roads are still visible in the landscape of Europe and North Africa. Some even still carry modern traffic. The road was the Roman Empire's secret weapon. It allowed them to move entire legions rapidly across their territory to crush rebellions or supply distant outposts. When the road network fell into disrepair after the empire's collapse, the very ability to administer large territories vanished with it. Infrastructure was civilization. In South America, the Incas built something even more challenging: the Capac Ñan, a 40,000-kilometer road system through the highest mountains on Earth. The Inca roads threaded through passes at over 4,000 meters elevation. They conquered verticality in a way no other civilization ever has. They didn't have steel, so they wove grass. Huge suspension bridges made of braided fibers spanned gorges over 60 meters wide. They were rebuilt every year. Their relay system, the chasqui, used trained runners stationed every few kilometers. They could pass messages and goods at speeds up to 400 kilometers a day. This system was so fast that fresh fish caught on the Pacific coast could arrive at the high mountain capital of Cusco in just 2 days. In the east, the Grand Canal of China became the longest artificial river in the world, connecting the Yellow and Yangtze rivers over 1,700 kilometers. By the 10th century, Chinese engineers invented pound locks, allowing boats to travel uphill. It was a hydraulic marvel that unified the north and south. But the most important roads weren't made of stone. They were made of stories, a knowledge infrastructure that functioned as the world's first GPS. Indigenous Australians used songlines, complex ceremonial songs that encoded the topographic features of the land. The song was the map. The melodic contours of the song matched the terrain. By following the song, a traveler could find water and safety across hundreds of miles of desert they had never seen. This memory map was more robust than any physical document. It couldn't be lost, it couldn't be burned, and it served its people for over 60,000 years. In the Islamic world, a vast body of travel literature was built on the shared route knowledge of merchants, pilgrims, and diplomats. They built a network of caravanserais, fortified way stations located exactly one day's journey apart. They were the world's first true hospitality infrastructure. Meet Ibn Battuta. In the 14th century, he traveled 117,000 kilometers, a distance equivalent to 3 times the circumference of the Earth. He didn't do it alone. He relied on a massive network of hospitality and shared knowledge that stretched from Morocco to China. The world was already connected. Marco Polo traveled for 24 years, covering 24,000 kilometers. His descriptions of the Silk Road changed how Europe saw the vastness of the East. At sea, sailors mastered the monsoon winds. They used these seasonal rhythms to ferry goods between Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. Then came the astrolabe, the first high-tech navigation tool. It allowed sailors to determine their latitude by measuring the altitude of the stars. It was the precursor to the sextant. By the 15th century, Prince Henry the Navigator founded a school that combined ancient wayfinding with new technology, bridging the gap to the modern age. Then, in the 18th century, everything changed forever. We broke the animal barrier. We transitioned from wind and muscle to the power of steam. The invention of the steam engine was a pivot point in history. For the first time, human movement was no longer limited by biological endurance or the whim of the winds. Railways spread across the planet with incredible speed. A journey that once took weeks now took days. The very perception of time and space began to shrink. Then came the internal combustion engine, the car. It gave individuals the power of a team of horses in a single metal frame. Individual freedom was revolutionized. Finally, we took to the skies and then to space. We moved beyond the Earth entirely, using the same ingenuity that our ancestors used to cross the Sahara. Ancient travel wasn't just about reaching a destination. It was an intimate experience with the texture of the world itself. They felt the terrain. They read the weather. They negotiated with strangers. Every kilometer was paid for with attention and physical effort. Today, we sit in metal containers. We move through the sky at 35,000 feet with zero sensation of the distance we are covering. The experience is gone. In losing the hardship, we've also lost our relationship with the world. We no longer know the road beneath our tires or the air around our bodies. Ancient travel wasn't primitive. It was a fully realized, elegantly adapted system for moving human beings and their ideas across a planet that gave them nothing but themselves. The next time you travel, even if it's just to the office, remember the ancient travelers. You aren't just moving, you are participating in a 60,000-year-old story of ingenuity,